Dear students of law, good day. I want to begin by asking you an honest question. If any of you had the opportunity to travel to Europe or America next week, and you want to do so, please raise your hand. You know, as Cameroonians, we should ask ourselves that what do we have to do to make our country a magnet? As Africans, we should do everything that we can to stop running away from ourselves. You know, the Americans keep their children in America. From kindergarten, they teach you how to open a business. The Germans keep their children all in Germany. You never hear a German child says, I want to fall push. They teach their children German engineering. From small, how to make BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Volkswagen. The British don't know how to start a business or to build Volkswagen or BMW. But they teach their children from a young age how to play good football. When you're growing up, you know you have to be from Manchester or Liverpool. And you play that football in England. Why can't we keep our own? That is the question that I want you all to reflect on as we talk about good governance today. 50 years ago, Dubai was a desert land. Nobody wanted to go there. But because of good governance, they've managed to transform their country into a place where everybody of every class wants to go to. We can do it too in Cameroon. But if we have to do it, we have to think a little differently. Primarily, we must change the way we think. Do we know what we want as Cameroonians? Remember that the battle of colonization was the battle of the mind. For us to free our country, Cameroon, the first thing we needed to do was to free our minds. The only thing about a man that makes a man is his mind. Everything else you can find in a horse or a pig. The colonizers have figured out that a long time ago. That's why they've come to our country and they created a bank, Standard Chartered Bank, that's the British bank. They manage our economy and our resources. Yet they want to run away and leave all of this to them. As people said, they are ready to fall bush as early as next week. They'll build a few hospitals and a few stadiums. And then take the rare earth minerals for 200 years. When the Chinese build you one stadium, you will celebrate. I have to tell you, they have their hidden agenda. We have to start thinking differently to move our country forward. We are at our best when we are quoting some Englishman called Lord Denning. That is when we show that we have learned law to the highest level. We quote a British man. Lord Denning, nobody knows him here in Buea. This is sad because we, the Bakari people, we have our own reasonable man. And that is what I use when I get cases in the village. It's called Molambako. Our culture is how we treat women and children. Our culture is how we train young men how to hunt and how we teach our women how to do Bahogo and Bangasu. Our culture is beyond a dance. So as young Cameroonians, I want you all to start thinking differently. If we have to move this country to the next level where we all want it to be, we have to make fundamental changes in the way we think. We have a high appetite for rice in this country. Do we cultivate rice or do we import it from Pakistan? I watched a program on TV how a young Chinese lady was planting beans in China to come and feed Cameroonians because benyariko is our standard meal. But we can't even grow enough beans to feed our own country. If you cannot feed yourself, nobody will respect you. As young Cameroonians, keep that in mind as we grow. In a country where we can be first, where SICAM can produce our own textiles and make us first. We are fifth in 52 nations in the country, in the continent. Yet I see people, women importing used bras from Finland in Morocco market on Thursdays. Those 13 people determine the price of petrol in every petrol station in the world. What is holding back us, these 4 countries in Africa, from controlling the price of coffee in New York? We have to start thinking differently. As future leaders of Cameroon, you have to find what works best for Cameroon, independent if it conforms with democracy or not. What is the purpose of the deals and SDOs? In the current context of decentralization, where powers have been devolved back to local communities, I want you to think big when you are thinking, but be courageous enough to start small. If we want to move this country forward, we must have dreamers. We must have people who have a vision. When I meet a leader, I've sat with presidents and vice presidents of country and prime ministers for lunch. I never ask them, what is your plan for that country? I ask them, what's your vision? As a young leader of Cameroon, you must be visionary. Success is not do we know what we want as Cameroonians. You only earn money after you're successful. You cannot go in front of fireside and say, give me heat, then I'll give you firewood after. Anybody who wants something that requires effort but without giving effort, that is superstition. An excellent person conquers the things that average people complain about. If you and I are going to be effective leaders who are going to lead Cameroon tomorrow, we have to be excellent people. You were not born to be an average person. None of you in this place were born to be an average person. You were born to be excellent. But for you to become that excellent person that needs to move Cameroon forward, you need to work a little harder.